Thanks for tuning in to the Discovering Leadership podcast. My name is Corbin Hanus with Enchirian. I'm joined by my co-host Carl Bowden from Exemplify Leadership. Carl, what's the Discovering Leadership podcast all about?
Yeah, so the Discovering Leadership podcast is about building the foundations of leadership within you, our listeners. So we want to help you instill better relationships and learn how to strategize in your business and maybe in your own personal life. We have a goal to lead leaders. We're building a community of leaders to help hold all of us accountable into our goals. And the ultimate goal is to lead by example.
Fantastic. So, how are we going to be doing that today? What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so we're going to be continuing our relationships series with growing deeper and closer with each other. So, we're going to be talking about trust. We're going to be talking about increased work satisfaction by having these deeper relationships and, you know, maintaining regular communication. We have to maintain regular communication in order to grow deeper. And then ultimately, by having all of this, we're going to drive sales and build a better business. So, getting into that first topic of discussion, when getting deeper into relationships, we're going to talk about trust. Now, we must first have to give trust in order to earn trust. It's kind of like being responsible, you know, or or just having respect for another person. We have to give respect in order to earn respect.
Oh yeah, it's the way I think of it is relationships can't be one-sided. Your relationship, regardless of who it's with, it needs to be some form of a partnership. If that's your, say, significant other or a family member, maybe it's an employee you have, a coworker, or your boss, or a actual business partner. You have to make sure that that relationship is two-sided and you're providing trust just as much as you're receiving trust.
Yeah, we can't truly connect if we're not 100% real, 100% authentic to who we are. We have to really be honest with ourselves. Sometimes that's really hard. It's hard to be completely honest in who we are.
Most definitely. I think of it as, uh, a book I was reading recently called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. It's a fantastic read. If you haven't checked it out, I'd recommend it. Uh, one of the quotes out of that book was to approach relationships in a transformational way as opposed to a transactional way. You have to approach a relationship asking yourself, what are they going to get out of it? Not what am I going to get out of it? If you can't provide any value to the other individual in the relationship, then how are you going to expect them to have any desire at all to help you out or to provide any value to you?
Yeah, that's huge. You know, we have to ask ourselves the question, what are they getting out of it? When it comes to leadership, we've talked about this multiple times, but it's not about us. It's about serving that other person.
Most definitely. It's about the other person, but it starts with us.
It does start with us. So, what are we giving? What are we giving to this relationship to make it grow deeper? So, we have to be honest. And, all of this revolves around consistency too. We can be honest, we can be authentic in certain areas of our life or certain times,
Yeah.
but if it's not consistent, then it's not true. We have to continually build that trust through consistency. It goes back to integrity, aligning our words with our actions.
Most definitely. You have to be able to live your true self in that fashion, be able to be confident and go out there and earn that trust from people. Earn earn it. It's through consistency, it's through effort that you're able to earn this. Otherwise, it's you don't just walk into a relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is, and receive trust and respect from people.
Exactly. That is huge. And a lot of people today, they kind of try to expect that. They just try to
Think it's the
expect.
standard.
Yeah, and that is not the standard at all. It's almost kind of like being entitled
Yeah.
to something, you know?
Yes, if you walk in expecting that somebody is providing you that respect, and or they say they know why you should be truthful and you assume a lot of these things, it's going to come across as entitled or egotistical potentially.
Exactly. It kind of goes back to what you're saying earlier in terms of like taking action. When we're taking action and being consistent with our word, but not really expecting anything, any action from others, but actually giving action or giving some type of, you know, version of ourselves to others, that's where the change happens.
Yeah, it and whenever you're providing for other people, it might not be resources, it might not be money, it might be your time. It might just be simply the fact that you show that you care.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's that could be huge for people. A lot of people like to talk about in relationships nowadays love languages. There's
Oh, yeah.
there's so many different ways that you can show love to an individual that you're in like in a significant other relationship with. That applies outside of relationships in that form as well. If you go to work, there's a lot of work relationships I know of where it's completely different. I mean, I think of our relationship with you being my leadership coach, you're providing to me valuable insight. You're providing to me an alternative perspective, and that's very, very useful for me. Now, it's not like you're showing up to work and you're taking out the trash, you're not filing tax returns for me. I run an accounting firm, so we have to file tax returns to make money, you know? But I consider you a very integral part of my team as my leadership coach because of that alternative perspective you provide, because of the value that you provide just simply showing up to the meetings.
Yeah, that's huge. And when you talk about showing up, it kind of reminds me of what you were talking about earlier, the book by Gary Chapman, The Five Love Languages. So if you guys haven't heard of the five love languages, uh, basically they consist of gift giving. Now, some of these might be more in a romantic setting, but they definitely apply to a lot of other personal settings, business
Yeah, I
settings.
wouldn't say go up to your boss and try to
Do
do
some.
certain love languages with them, but, there's context to this stuff nonetheless. You can learn from it and apply what's I'm blanking on the word, concepts, there we go. You can apply concepts from things to other places in your life as well.
Exactly. So there's gift giving, there's words of affirmation, there's acts of service, there's touch, and then there's quality time. But what you're saying, if people just show up and they're there, that is an act of love. It is an act of
Yeah,
showing
that they care,
trust.
yeah.
Showing that they care.
It's as you're saying, making others feel like they belong,
Exactly.
and creating that relationship starts with you, as we are saying. You have to put in that effort to create the relationship, build the relationship for it to be fruitful. If you don't put in that if you don't put in the first foot, you can't expect other people to do that. You might have had experiences where other people have done that, but that's not going to be universal. You might have some experiences where, say, somebody approaches you with this mentality where they're wanting to put the first foot forwards. They're wanting to put in some extra value and try to improve on your life, whoever that might be. But don't expect everybody to be the same. You can't expect everybody to do that.
Exactly. We have to start acting with what's in our control. It starts with us. So, as we go through some of these love languages here, we can give our quality time. We can give someone a high five at work. We can show that we care about someone through an act of service, doing a particular task, maybe at work, or cleaning up our bedroom at home, for our wife, our husband, whoever that may be. And then we can also just show that we appreciate people, through our words. We can give people something. All this starts with us. It starts with giving. It starts with focusing on others rather than us. Now, when we give, when we show people, we care about them, it communicates to them that they belong.
Yeah, and speaking of communication, and you were mentioning staying consistent and being a regular at this and always trying to put your first foot forward. A part of that, as you were saying with communication, is maintaining a regular balance of communication.
Exactly. So, how often are we meeting with people? Maybe it's daily, maybe it's weekly, monthly, whatever that may be. But the more communication that we have with people, the deeper we're going to get within that relationship.
Most definitely. And some relationships need a lot of communication to be fruitful. Some relationships, as we were mentioning with your significant other, you're probably going to be talking to them more than most people in your life. If
Mhm.
you're s- still living at home with your parents, same thing. If you have kids, same thing. You're going to be communicating with these people, say family members, more frequently than otherwise, than the other people in your life. Friends, you're probably going to be communicating with your friends more frequently than coworkers.
Mhm.
So there's context to how often and what that balance is, and trying to figure out what the right amount of communication is. But it all leads back to making sure that you're keeping up with regular communication so that you stay on mind with them. If you're never in their mind, then you don't really have a relationship with them. If they're never in your mind,
Mhm.
you don't really have a relationship with them. Y-
Mm.
I I can't name a single person that I have a relationship with that I don't think about.
Yeah.
Period. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know them. Every person that I have a form of relationship with, I'm able to think about.
Yeah. That's huge. How often do they come to your mind? Or how often are you physically with them? That really does define the
Yeah,
relationship.
gotta
There's
keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it simple. And uh, there's a quote you like to say all the time. What's that quote?
Yeah, so it's by John Maxwell, and it says that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh yeah, that's so deep. That's a fantastic saying. I hear you say it all the time, and I know exactly why. Because it's very meaningful.
Mhm.
If you don't care about somebody at all, then why should they care about you?
Exactly.
Everything's gonna go vice versa, and or both ways in a relationship. Like we were saying, every relationship is a form of a partnership.
Yeah. And one good way to increase communication and really apply that giving is to ask questions.
Oh yeah,
All we have to do is just start with asking the question, because that shows that, hey, I'm interested in who you are, what you want to
oh
do, what
yeah,
you're about. So maybe it's a romantic relationship. We could start asking questions to become more curious
yeah,
with who they are, or maybe it's a work type relationship. We have to ask the questions, whether it's from the supervisory level
yeah.
or the employee subordinate level. We have to ask questions and be curious and show that we're interested.
Don't be afraid to ask questions either. A lot of people, they're
Yeah.
very afraid to ask questions. I mean, sometimes you might not ask the right questions. Sometimes it might be like, oh, should I even ask this question? Is it going to touch a sensitive subject or something like that? it it doesn't matter. Find a way to get that information out there. Showing that you care. Find a way to really make that known, because otherwise it's like they're going to act based upon the information they have available to them. You
Exactly.
would expect people to be rational. People usually aren't, but nonetheless, if you say you're working with rational people, they're going to act based upon the information that's available to them. You got to make sure that if you're concerned about something, if you care about something, if you want some more information, whatever it might be, ask the question, make it known, tell people.
Yeah. So, we can establish trust. We can show that we care. We can start with giving. We can increase the amount of communication we have with people. Now, as a result of increasing this communication, increasing this trust, in the workplace, there's going to be a lot more worker satisfaction within wherever you're working. So,
Most definitely.
people are going to start enjoying coming to work by having these deeper relationships and not just keeping it work related, but talking about personal things too. That's that's key. You
Oh
don't
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to talk about strictly work things. It goes back to that quote by John Maxwell. If you show that you care beyond just the workplace and you care about their personal lives, they're going to be that much more committed to not only you as their leader, but the entire organization.
Most definitely. I think about it as like I've mentioned this a couple times before, in other episodes, but within our organization for Insurance, every week at the beginning of the week, Monday mornings, we have our team meetings. Me, all of my team members, we all get together and I ask them how their weekend went,
Mhm.
and then we go over work priorities. I tell them after that, here's what I'm concerned about. Here's what, say, maybe good or bad going on within the business. That way they can show, okay, give them an opportunity to show when they care, so that if I'm scared of something happening in the business, somebody can either jump in and say, hey, I can help out with that, or hey, don't worry about it, Corbin, we've got it covered, whatever it might be. uh, that really helps start that conversation. But then at the end of that, talking about their weekend and having that personal connection with them, it's very, very fruitful, because every week I come back and I'm like, hey, I know my accountant, and that dude, he's got a wife and a kid, and he's also taking care of his mother. He got a new car recently, and he's using that car, like, really he's traveling all the time.
Mhm.
So, it's like every weekend, I'm like, "Hey, where did you go last weekend? Like, what did you do?" He saw man, he sees some cool stuff, and he's always sharing cool things with me, and it makes me really excited for the team meetings. It makes that relationship real a lot deeper, because I show up and I'm like, "Okay, what is he up to now?" And then
Mhm.
same stuff happens, like, uh, my our one of our admin, he went to a professional cricket match for the first time in his life,
Mhm.
last weekend, and I was like, "Dude, that's cool." So we started talking about cricket, and he's telling me all these, and I'm learning things, not just about him, about
Mhm.
cricket, it's I'm developing that relationship, and it really, really helps with, well, me having the excitement to not only go to these meetings, but to show up to work. And I've gotta at least hope that it goes both ways, you know? I gotta, like I said, put my best foot forwards and try to initiate these conversations, but we keep these conversations going, and it's getting me excited to show up. I hope that it's doing the same for them. They get into the conversation, they ask some questions about what I got going on, and then they
Mhm.
get excited about the meetings. Like I said, that's all I can hope, and I trust them to do everything that they're capable of. They're fantastic. So,
Exactly.
it really develops that relationship.
You gave them the opportunity to share their life with others, with you. And that showed that you care about them more than just getting a job done, but you care about their families, what they enjoy to do.
Oh, yeah.
So as a result of this, this is really developing a happier culture within your business at Insurance. And then it's also, leveling up really the mental health of our people too.
Yep.
When we are developing deeper relationships, increasing that communication, and just being with others, showing that they matter. So after we have developed a little bit more satisfaction with the workplace, we have increased that communication and we started giving and building trust. This is ultimately going to lead to, bettering our business and increasing sales too.
Yeah.
So that's huge. So if you're a business owner out there, what are you doing to build your culture and invest in your people to show that, they matter? So this is going to really bring in that teamwork there among coworkers. It's kind of going to bring in synergy. That was a hot word a few years
Yeah.
back, but it really is about that synergy when we're growing deeper in relationships, not only in our personal lives, but in work as well. So as a result of growing deeper, we're going to increase the motivation and inspiration in others doing well in their jobs, in who they are and everything that they do and completing their goals.
Most definitely. It's like I think about relating it back to some of the networking that I do with other accounting firm owners. I go out, I see a lot of people that own accounting firms, and when we share issues that we're going through, I tell them, "Hey, here's stuff that I'm experiencing." They'll tell me what they're going through and the solutions that we're coming up for the different problems. That way, we can all effectively grow together. And it one of the big things that I see across the accounting industry, that happens a lot is people will if they're recruiting, they'll look for, okay, make sure whenever I hire somebody, he's a CPA already, he's got 10 years of
Mhm.
experience, he knows exactly what he's doing, and they craft
Yeah.
this perfect vision of what an accountant looks like to another accountant, and most of the time, it's their mirror. Uh, but in all reality, you can't expect other people to have the same passion about your business or your passions as you do.
Yeah.
My approach to hiring and recruiting and bringing on people is I don't care what you know or how you're gonna do a tax return. As long as you're gonna be a great fit for our culture, you're going to be a good fit for the business, and we can work with you, then I can teach you how to file a tax return. I can I can provide the resources that you need to become an enrolled agent or become a certified public accountant. Whatever can make it happen, we'll do it. We'll get the job done. It's Do you think that you can build that relationship with us? If so, sweet, jump on the team. We're gonna be happy to have you.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to somebody about it today. One of the things that I always do for my interviews is I'll take somebody out to lunch or dinner and sit down with them, and I have a multi-step interview process. That's gonna be the first step. The way I see it is if I can't make it through a lunch without pulling my hair out in a conversation with you, why would I ever want to spend 40 hours a week with you? Why would I ever want to work with you for however long
Mm.
if I can't make it through a simple lunch
Yeah,
with
you're
that
pulling
person?
your hair out
Yeah, you
at
gotta be
in
able
that
to
simple
build
watch.
a relationship with people, and it's not gonna be their fault. It's half the time it's gonna be my fault if we're jumping into it because how I'm approaching it, I'm gonna be going into it in a casual way. I'm gonna be talking to them about, okay, here's how we work, here's how we do things. Do you think you can fit? And that's me putting our best foot forwards of saying, essentially, we have this culture. Do you trust it?
Hmm.
And really asking them and pulling people in, trying to bring it in. Recruiting's not about you just going out and finding the people capable. It's about you finding the right fit and putting yourself out there and seeing, okay, are they going to mesh well with others? Are they going to have these same qualities where they're going to put their foot forward? If I put my foot forward during this meeting and say, okay, here's how we work, here's what we do, would you be a good fit? And they show zero interest, then it's not that partnership. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, that's huge. And I want to point out, we have to have diversity in our workplace. That meaning, one person's going to be better at a particular task or job than another person. We're all different people, but finding the right fit, the right people that have strengths that are different from ours, that's what we need to do is find those people that have the right strengths. And then we all come together and work well with others by developing these deep relationships. There's another thing, Corbin, that you had pointed out, you don't really care about what exactly they know, what's down on paper. They have all these degrees, all that.
Yep.
But who are they?
Oh yeah.
Who are they? And are they passionate about what they do? Are they wanting to make a positive change?
Can can they get behind our purpose?
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. If they can't get behind our purpose and try to bring some value to our clients, then I'll find somebody that does. I've already found a few people. I know I can find a few more. Not everybody's a great fit for
Hmm.
me. Not everybody's a great fit for you. That's just how the cookie's going to crumble.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great segue to our next topic, because a lot of the fit that comes and really helps in our business is finding other people that exemplify these leadership qualities. If they have these qualities that we were talking about during this episode and most of our other episodes, then I'm going to want them. I'm going to say, get on in here. I want to be able to lead leaders. And that's exactly what we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about in the next episode.
Exactly. We're going to continue that relationships series with the lead leaders episode. When we lead leaders, that's when we multiply. That's when we
Yeah.
multiply our effect in our mission and what we ultimately want to accomplish. So remember, you can check out these episodes every other Tuesday, either on Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. And make sure you check out Enturian.com. That's ENTURIAN.com. You can go check out our social media, especially our YouTube, where we're posting the videos of all of these episodes. Like I said, ENTURIAN.com, Enturian.com. You can check out Exemplify Leadership as well. He's Carl. He's going to be posting all of this on his social media. You're going to see a lot of different content pushed out to a lot of different places. So make sure you follow us so that you can keep updated. Last thing we got for you is just to make sure you don't forget that alone we survive, but together we thrive. Thanks for joining. See you on the next episode.